Good evening and welcome to the Ordinary Council meeting of the 30th of April 2025. This meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung people. We wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians and pay our respects to their elders past and present. And we extend that respect to all members of our community. I'd like to note that former Mayor Pat Simmons has died recently. Pat was a dedicated and passionate leader who served as the Mayor of the Borough of Queenscliff. She was elected to the council in 2004 and served as Mayor between 2006 and 2008. She was deeply committed to her community. Her leadership and vision were instrumental in numerous local projects, including the development of the Monaghan Centre and the continuous path between Point Lonsdale and Queenscliff. Pat also played a pivotal role in securing and planning the use of the high school site for community purposes. Pat's impact on the community was profound. She was a tireless advocate for local issues, always striving to improve the quality of life for residents. Pat's legacy is one of service, community spirit, and unwavering dedication to the Borough of Queenscliff. She'll be remembered for her tireless efforts to enhance the lives of those in her community. Our thoughts are with her family and friends, and we take this opportunity to formally acknowledge and appreciate Pat's service to the borough. Pat's funeral service will be held here in the Town Hall on Friday at 1 p.m. We have all councillors present. Do we have all officers present? Thank you. Are there any conflicts of interest?
Yes, on item 13.5, the budget item, we had Stones project. I'll have a material conflict of interest regarding, because I sit on the board of the proposed recipient.
Thank you, Councillor Grigel. Noticed. We have no leave of absence for a councillor. I move now to public question time. And we have no public question outstanding. And the public questions that we've received, there are two. You know who this first one was from? Oh yes, sorry. From the QCA. There's no representative from the QCA, so I'll read it. The draft budget is now released for feedback. It was reported recently that the new council was undertaking a strategic review of expenditure and memberships, etc., and that the new council is doing a deep dive and looking at where our money is being spent and ensuring its ratepayers were getting the best value for their money. Has Council made any inroads in the 2025-26 draft budget with significant cost recoveries and savings measures and completed its best value for money strategic review and evaluation of existing expenditures? If so, can these be detailed? And we would welcome Council response in terms of their portfolios and savings made. I read the response?
Yes, you can, if you're comfortable.
I am. The response, the draft budget includes a funding allocation for an organisational efficiency review. If an unchanged draft budget is formally adopted at the ordinary meeting of Council in June, that review will commence in the new financial year. Public question 2 is from Jenny Brown. Is Jenny here? Being the case, I'll read the question. The preamble states the Victorian Local Government Act 2020 states that review development of the community vision should involve the municipal community. The municipal community is described in the Act as those who live, work and pay rates and conduct activities in the municipality. It also states that traditional owners should be consulted. Yet the online survey reviewing the community vision asks those completing the vision if they are a ratepayer, yes or no. The question is, how is council ensuring that those who live, for example, renters, and work in the borough and the traditional owners, the Wadawurrung, are not disenfranchised because they're not ratepayers? My response? The questions help council understand who is responding and is not intended to disenfranchise anyone. Council did a mail drop to ratepayers across the borough, and to ensure the broader community had an opportunity to provide feedback on the community vision, 2 drop-in sessions were conducted and advertised. The link to the survey was shared via social media and the council website, in addition to it being included in the Borough Bulletin update in the Ballerine Times. Council officers speak to the Wadawurrung Traditional Owners Aboriginal Corporation each month on a range of matters, and will be speaking to the corporation about the current community vision and seeking input for the review. Now move to item 6, the confirmation of minutes of the previous meetings. The recommendation is that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting on the 26th of March 2025 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. A seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. 6.2, regarding the ordinary council of meeting on the 26th of March 2025, the confidential minutes. The recommendation is that the confidential minutes of the ordinary council meeting on 26th of March 2025 as distributed be confirmed as an accurate record. Do I have a mover for that?
I actually wish to move an alternate motion, or a motion that confirms the minutes as an accurate record with the following change, amending 16.3 from carried unanimously to carried.
So, sorry, just make that clearer. So your alternate motion is?
That the resolution from item 16.3 be changed to carried from carried unanimously.
All right. Do you have that clear? Yes. Does anybody wish to make any comment on that? Do I have a seconder for that motion? No seconder? Pardon? Yes, Councillor Gregoire? Would any... Yep. Thank you. Do you wish to speak? Councillor Gregoire, any comment? Question?
Sorry, point of order. I don't think you can make comment on the minutes unless adopting or
Sorry.
voting against them.
And then do we vote? All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. Item 7, record of informal meetings of councillors. The record is included in the adjunct. The recommendation is that the record of informal meetings of councillors as presented in adjunct to item 7 be noted. Do I have a mover of that? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Second to Councillor Monaghan. All those in favour? Unanimous. Item 8, The notice of motion, status update, as read. The notice of motion, graffiti management policy for the Borough of Queenscliff, the formal partnership with the borough's museums, and the developing a consistent approach to urban design and public realm assets in the borough. They're reported on in adjunct to 8.1. There are no notices of motion received, and there were no petitions and joint letters. Item 10, functions attended. The recommendation is that the functions attended report be received. Do I have a mover for that?
Sorry, Matt, I'd wish to move with the following amendments, Jackie, and I can send these through so you've got them in writing. But on March 18, I attended the Climate Emergency Australia executive meeting. On the same day, those meetings with community groups are captured in the informal record, so it's just March 18. And then April 11, I was also present at the Beach Access Come and Try Day.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Is there a seconder to the motion? I'm assuming you were moving it once. Yeah. Thank you. In favour? Sorry, it was Councillor Cameron. Moving to item 11, the Chief Executive Officer's report for April. We'll take that as read. Are there any questions before we look at the recommendation? The recommendation is that Council receives the Chief Executive Officer report for April 2025 and notes the beach matting trial in Queenscliff. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Do you wish to speak? Anyone have any other questions? Sorry, Councillor Cameron.
I had the pleasure of a few days up at Bribie Island, and they, in a very small part of their beach, had the matting, and it was beautiful watching the parents with babies in strollers being pushed down the matting, strollers left, the children taken down and playing. Also witness, and so these are people that just, this is their day-to-day life. Families going down with quite old children who were in wheelchairs and taking them all the way down, getting them out and being able to put them in the water. And to just see it as a day-to-day thing, not as a trial, not as anything, but just people going about their daily lives, showed the importance of these mats. They're amazing.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. And I think that is something that came out in the Come and Try Day, especially on the 11th of April, that Councillor Monaghan and I attended. And as the CEO mentions, the popularity with beach walkers has meant that the officers are reviewing the length of time that the beach matting's left in place. So I think what you've seen, Councillor Cameron, is evidence of similar.
It's just that day-to-day. It was it was amazing. It was beautiful.
Councillor Tolhurst?
My commentary is relatively similar to Councillor Cameron, and that's to thank all the staff involved and also the Ledge members who kind of drove that forward or were certainly present and assisted in using their networks to get the equipment we did have. And our Come and Try Day included a Victorian first for a trial of a beach access mobility infrastructure. So I think this is a great space our council can lead in. It seems to have been above and beyond a success for more groups than first intended. And I really look forward to seeing what happens next. But thanks to all involved, I think, yeah, big tick.
And I note that Brian Manley is holding a fundraiser for one of those fabulous beach wheelchairs. So let's hope that's successful too. So,
can you just ask, like,
sorry?
with the success of this program, to ensure that we can plan to extend sort of continue the program. So, what was the cost to bring this, and how we'd need to allow for an annual budget input into to continue providing this service to our community?
I'll take the costings on notice. In the end, it's the mats cost us, I think, $16,000 to that end, and then we'd have to obviously do some works around whether or not we have a temporary toilet there, or as part of the upgrade of the Waroona Parade toilets, we make an accessible toilet there. So I'm probably not aware of the costs for that at this stage.
But if we have to constantly supply an annual sort of changing places toilet for the summer,
yeah.
And then the installation costs and stuff, just a rough guide, so we can actually forecast, we can discuss because it will be a reoccurring cost. It would be interesting for us councillors to be able to ensure that we have money in the budget put aside.
I'll take that on notice for you.
Thank you, Councillor Gregor. Are there any further questions or statements? That being the case, all those in favour of the recommendation as read? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Item 12, Heritage Planning and Infrastructure. The recommendation is that the Planning Permit Activity Report be received. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Gregor. Seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Does anyone wish to speak?
Yes, I was just wondering if we could have an update on 18, the Esplanade Queenscliff.
Thank you. Thank you. Tim Crawford, thanks.
Thank you, councillors. In addition to the status updates provided in the report, I can just provide the following points. The applicant has shared without prejudice the amended plans that shows a reduction in size and scale of the upper level extension. These have been shared with the objectors, and of the 8 objectors, 2 of them have confirmed support for the amended plans. The applicant is proposing to lodge the amended plans formally in due course, and council has sought legal advice confirming the proposed 3rd storey can be considered based on the existing attic. When we receive that advice, we will update councillors.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tolhurst.
Sorry, Tim. I wondered if you have any indication of the timing on an outcome for, I should have put this to memory by now, PA 20220446 McDonald Road.
We don't have any confirmed time we can provide. Unfortunately, Councillor Tolhurst, we were discussing this yesterday in the planning office. I understand the hearing was in the 4th of February, but given the timelines that's been tracking for this case, it's not unanticipated. We don't have a decision yet.
Any further questions? That being the case, can I put the motion? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. (12.2) Murray Road, the shared use project. The recommendation is that council requests officers to install wayfinding signage at strategic locations along Murray Road, develop a project management plan for an infrastructure solution that separates cyclists and pedestrians from cars along Murray Road, and brief council with an update on the project management plan for Murray Road pursuant to section B of this resolution. Do I have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Does anybody wish to speak? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to have this project progressing. acknowledging historical difficulty in finding a solution that we felt was right for community and the scope of the project or what it wanted to achieve. So keeping it moving and honouring the commitment to do it for both completing the rail trail, as ours is the only missing link, and slow down traffic and improve user safety is really great. So while a plan is obviously yet to be developed, I think the project has the potential to benefit local community, attract more people to the site and to view the spectacular Swan Bay and provide safer passage for all users. Obviously our council discussions have focused on finding grant funding for this should we get a plan and adopt that in place, meaning it won't be necessarily or ideally a massive detriment to our budget, but very, very pleased to see it progressing.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Does anybody else wish to say anything? Councillor Cameron?
Just reading the report on page 23. At the top of the document it states, talking about the traffic calming at the end of page 22, reducing the speed to 40 k's, and it goes on. And then it talks that such as traffic calming and a potential lack of police enforcement, this option is unlikely to be effective and is therefore not recommended. You go further down where it says options, and it says install speed limit reductions to 40 k's along Murray Road. I'm confused.
I think this is an historical record of what's happened before. Is that right, CEO?
Yeah, so the difference there, Councillor Cameron, would be that it's always been an option and it continues to be an option to install 40 kilometre along Murray Road. It's just that the officer of this, the author of this report doesn't recommend it. Yep.
Any further questions or comments?
I'd actually like to speak against the motion and say, I think it's we're actually jumping ahead of ourselves to like the recommendation is actually install wayfinding signage. We still haven't developed and sort of put in and enact our signage policy. So yet again, we're keeping on delivering items that we still don't have clear policies to deliver an outcome that's going to be suitable for the public. And regarding we've done public consultation. The options are still came out that the public, if were totally unpalatable, so they were quite happy to leave the street alone. I think you just should leave Murray Road alone, unless you can bring in the speed enforcement. That you were just wasting money.
Thank you, Councillor Gregal. Does anybody else wish to speak? That being the case, can I put the motion? All those in favour? Those against? Thank you, that's passed. Moving to item 13, the review of council policies. And we have quite a few council policies that we're considering tonight. The first recommendation is regarding CP 001. The recommendation is that council adopts the revised policy, asset management, as presented. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Does anybody wish to speak?
Can I just ask a question on this?
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a reference to collecting and maintaining the correct data to support asset management, and I wondered if that's likely to include any or require any new tools or programs to assist with this, and I'm directing it at Stu, I think.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. The data, the types of data that would help us in managing our assets includes better better reporting or the ability to better report on our expenditure. So an example is our new systems, our new finance system is able to record expenditure against specific assets. So for instance, if we're spending operational money, or record its operational money spent against the town hall. In the past, we've only been able to report on, its operational spend on building assets. So that will aid in managing our assets better. Also, our customer request system, Merit, will help us record information we get back regarding levels of service. So we'll be able to interrogate that data to help us understand whether our levels of service are set correctly or whether we've got issues in those areas. The other major area for improvement is around recording our open space assets better. So that's the sort of data we're referring to.
Thank you.
Further to that,
Councillor Grigor.
Stuart, so regarding with the new programs, will they drive efficiencies, or will we actually have to employ more staff to manage the data?
No, it provides better quality to the systems that we already run. So our asset management systems currently consider renewal modelling, for instance, as an example, having the ability to understand where our expenditure is can give us a better idea on whether we're directing our renewal money appropriately. So it's around the quality of our response, not necessarily the quantity of work.
Yep.
Does that answer the question? Yep. Yes.
Thank you. Any further questions? That being the case, can I put the motion? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. The next recommendation is regarding community engagement, and that is that Council presents the revised policy CP003, community engagement, to the community for a period of community consultation of no less than 4 weeks duration. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Does anybody wish to speak?
Just a question.
Councillor
Thank you,
Tolhurst.
Mayor. In the current community engagement policy is a series of categories, and I wondered how they're kind of used currently, and if some feedback can be provided as to whether they're a good tool in the context of categorising community engagement and comms generally with the public.
Do you want me to take that on notice, McKenna, or yeah? Thank you.
Thank you. So taken on notice. And are there any further questions, or does anybody else wish to speak? That being the case, can I move that recommendation? All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. The next recommendation is regarding memorials and plaques. The recommendation is that the Council adopts the revised policy CP024, memorials and plaques, as presented. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Grigor. Does anybody wish to speak?
Yeah.
Councillor Grigor?
Just a question regarding, in the last 12 months, how many requests have we had under the old system?
We've had one, yeah. I think we've only had one. It's only one that I can recall coming through.
And was it approved, or what is it?
It was, are we referring to, yeah, there was a a family approached us about a plaque on a seat that already existed, and it was supported by the officers, and it was a member of the community that had made a significant contribution over a number of years.
Did we end up, so normally things like that, we would celebrate those. Did we actually have a, like a call up for councillors to attend? And
The family asked for us to undertake it in a very particular way, and they're only in town once in a while, and so we just really facilitated their particular way of celebrating their mother.
What's the location?
It's up under the water tower.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions, or does anybody else wish to speak? That being the case, can I ask those in favour of the motion? Unanimous, thank you. The next recommendation is regarding CCTV in public places, and that recommendation is that Council adopts the revised policy CPO 37, CCTV in public places, as presented. Do I have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Griggar. Does anybody wish to speak? Thank you, Councillor Cameron.
Just would like, especially the people in the gallery, to be made aware that at the time of the CCTV was used was at the boat ramp in Queenscliff, but it has not been used since the boat ramp upgrade, and the hub has been built to have the capacity for CCTV to be installed, but it is not currently installed. This means that there is no council-operated CCTV in the borough.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Does anybody else wish to speak?
I'd
Councillor Griggar?
encourage that to know the council actually considers this policy and, you know, installing cameras. Like, there has been a spate of recent sort of incidents within the community of car thefts and sort of robberies, you know, with the increased, you know, it's affected the whole state and actually has reached the borough. And I've had to dealings, even personal experience on sort of having sort of a incident at my private residence, and then also helping other people. So I think the importance of CCTV within our public buildings to help, you know, with policing is actually quite important. So I think, you know, we can to pass this policy and actually you know, work on getting CCTV installed on buildings, and also, you know, mainly, you know, roadways into our borough, and sort of trying to get apply for grants to enable this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Griggar. Does anybody else wish to speak? That being the case, I would like support those who support the motion. Thank you. Unanimous. The next policy is the CEO Employment and Remuneration Policy. The recommendation is that Council adopts the revised policy CPO 53, CEO Employment and Remuneration, as presented. Do I have a mover for this motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. Does anybody wish to speak? Being the case, can I move the motion? Those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. The final policy is regarding Victoria Park. The recommendation is that Council presents the revised policy CPO 54, Victoria Park, to the community for a period of community consultation of no less than 4 weeks duration. Do I have a mover for the motion? Councillor Monaghan. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Griggar. Does anybody wish to speak? Councillor Tolhurst.
Thank you, Mayor. Of all the policies presented tonight, this Vic Park proposes probably the most significant. This follows a long path to its development with considerable community debate surrounding it and ultimately community input. For me, good policy should be able to bend and change and respond to the needs and desires of a community while also entrenching clear principles for action that are easily understood to those who use it. So key changes, I think, to policy should balance the interests of a community, in this case ensuring the park remains dual use and supporting considerable ongoing work done to revegetate it, but also understanding this is a really important council asset and an opportunity to explore increased income generation in a perpetually tight financial environment. The recommendation here tonight, as the Mayor read out, would see the policy put on exhibition for no less than 4 weeks. So I really welcome the opportunity to hear from community. It probably at this stage is too many revisions or a little too, it's undoing some of the contributions or the environmental protections, but I'd really like to hear from the community, and I think it is important to review policies to make sure they're still serving the organisation, the council and the community. So look forward to hearing from people if they wish to contribute.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Does anybody else wish to speak, comment, ask questions?
Yes.
Councillor Grigor?
As a sort of councillor that was here during the term that actually proposed the motion and passed to protect the vegetation in Victoria Park, and I think when we actually installed the motion, it wasn't ever intended to lock down the park. It was always intended for regrowth and then review and then sort of reopen in the correct time. I think it's we've had the time, and I think it's good that the policy goes back out for review and the community can have their say and sort of bring back, and it's up to the councillors to listen to that review, and we actually have to look at it and make the space flourish.
Thank you, Councillor Grigor. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? That being the case, I put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed unanimously. We move to 13.2, proposed amendments to the governance rules. The recommendation is that Council places the draft governance rules on public exhibition and seeks community feedback for a period of no less than 4 weeks duration. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you. Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Cameron. Does anybody wish to speak? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst.
The governance rules have also been subject to a lot of community input or desired community input over the last few years, and I think again this is about seeking what's a balanced approach for the guiding document and really the rule book for council meetings and public engagement, because some of the proposed changes tonight talk about public questions and really the interface that the council has with the public in a meeting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the public has to say, if they feel like that makes for a dialogue, a useful and productive dialogue with council in these meetings. And noting this also precedes changes that are going to be mandated by the state government, with the state government handing down compulsory governance rules. So additionally, the procedural motions table, I think, is a great, it means we're responding to the environment and giving more information out in our governance rules. So I hope that's a useful tool that anyone, for anyone, I should say, who picks up the governance rules and fancies a read. So I support the changes and look forward to hearing from the community on this one.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Did anybody else wish to speak?
Yes, actually.
Councillor Grigor?
Quite happy to support this, but I think we should be looking at a review straight after the state government enforces what we actually have to do with the model governance rules. I think it'd be a high priority We shouldn't be lagging behind, just in case that, anything conflicts with what the state government has put out.
Thank you, Councillor Gregor. Anyone else wish to speak? That being the case, can I ask those in support of the motion? Thank you. Unanimous. Moving to 13.3, the third quarter implementation update for the annual plan 24-25. The recommendation is that Council notes the quarterly report update against the annual plan 2024-2025 for the period 1 January to 31st of March 2025. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Does anybody wish to speak? Councillor Tolhurst.
Thank you, Mayor. A question regarding the bike park funding. So great to see that the funding has been, or the grant application has been submitted and is widely supported by good consultation and some letters of support from our school community. I do wonder what happens if we're unsuccessful in July. What's the backup plan for this project?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Councillor Tolhurst, and through you, Mayor. We'll keep our eye on other funding opportunities, and we note that there is a state election next year as well, so we'll keep advocating to potential candidates for that. And officers, if they're feeling bold enough, might even come to council and ask for some money, but we'll see how we go.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak to the motion or against the motion? That being the case, I put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. Moving on to 13.4. Thank you. The 2024-2025 quarterly financial report as at 31st of March 2025. The recommendation is that Council notes the quarterly finance report to the 31st of March 2025. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monahan. Does anybody wish to speak to the motion? Being the case, all those in favour of the motion? Thank you. Passed unanimously. 13.5. Councillor Gregor. (13.5) is a budget item, and that item is regarding the Headstones project. The recommendation is that Council approves the inclusion of a $17,000 contribution to the Headstone project as part of the draft budget 2025-26. Do I have a mover for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monahan. Does anybody wish to speak? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst.
Thank you, Mayor. I support the contribution of $17,000, an amount that was determined to contribute about 50% of the remaining headstones that are to be completed in the Queenscliff Point Lonsdale Cemetery. So there's 28 headstones remaining. This will assist in 14 of them or thereabouts, and that includes adding concrete plinths and bronze plaques commemorating the soldiers who served during or before World War I. And this is a pilot project in Victoria. As I understand, it's been run effectively but vastly by community and with very little funding in Tasmania. So this is a really exciting opportunity to again put Queenscliff on the map for a great project that celebrates our military history and fallen soldiers who've to date gone unrecognised.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. And just noting that there is Commonwealth funding for those soldiers that are recognised, but this is for those who haven't been. So it is a very special project. That's my contribution. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? In that case, I put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. For excluding Councillor Grigau. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. 13.6 is the draft revenue and rating plan and draft budget for 2025-2026. Do we have a motion? Councillor Cameron?
Get close enough. The motion is that number 1 is that Council endorse for exhibition the proposed draft revenue and rating plan and the proposed draft budget for 2025-26, including the proposed schedule of fees and charges as presented. Point 2, authorises the Chief Executive Officer to give public notice of the draft budget 2025-26 and draft revised revenue and rating plan and make copies available upon request and on the Council's website for inspection. 3, seeks written public submissions on the draft documents during the consultation period of the 1st of May 2025 to 4 p.m. on the 22nd of May 2025. 4, receive submissions and, where requested, allow submitters to be heard by Council in support of those submissions on any proposal contained in the documents at a public meeting on the 27th of May 2025 at 6 p.m. And point 5, considers a motion to adopt the draft budget 2025-26, including the schedule of fees and charges and the draft revised revenue and rating plan at a council meeting to be held on the 25th of June 2025, having regard to all submissions received.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Does anybody wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Tolhurst.
No surprises. Thank you, Mayor. I'm really supportive of putting this draft budget out for community consultation and commend the staff, but also my colleagues for what has been a really busy period in getting our first draft budget under our belts. I believe the rating mechanism remains a fair and one that's considerate of the environment, locally a difficult period for commercial operators and more broadly persisting cost of living challenges. In this budget, we've increased the pension discount for those who might be feeling the pinch hardest. We've presented ongoing effective cost recovery for waste management, allocated significant funding to Hesse Street improvements, an area universally acknowledged as needing urgent attention to make it a thriving main street again. There's a wayfinding strategy to improve access and direction to places of significance or not, whether they're loos or lighthouses. The intent here is to reduce visual pollution, improve amenity, and make sure there's a clear story that connects direction and movement through the borough. There's healthy capital expenditure, a focus on improving caravan parks and recreation facilities, and also increasing solar on council buildings, a key component of the SERP, and significant in terms of driving down local emissions and increasing local energy generation for people and places. The budget, though still absolutely in draft form and very much eager to hear from the community about how they feel it sits, is evidence that our little borough can and does manage its finances soundly and sustainably while delivering outcomes for community and responding to community need. I'd like to thank Gihan and the team. You are gracious always to reference your team, so I do so here tonight as well, but this is a mammoth job you all do annually. We've been very, very thoroughly briefed. The information has been open, available, extensive and clear. You've caught many late ferries for us to get our head around this year's draft budget, and you're persistent in equipping and empowering councillors to understand the budget. So I very heartily endorse this for community consultation tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Does anybody else wish to speak? Councillor Grigger.
I actually support for this draft budget to actually go for community consultation, because I think it's very important that the ratepayers, especially because we're spending your money, remember, it's taxpayers and ratepayers' money. So I think it's only fair that those people have their say, and I encourage everybody to come out and make a submission. Like everything's on the table and everything will be considered. So please don't think you're wasting your time by making a submission. We are looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Councillor Grigger. And could I just endorse those sentiments of both councillors? Thank you very much to Gihan and the team. It has been a very, very helpful process. You've been exceedingly generous with your time. Thank you. And please, everybody, this is your opportunity to participate, to submit any ideas, to let us know. So it is important that this time is used wisely, and we're here to listen. Councillor Cameron?
I would also just like to say that I have sat through, this is my 9th budget of council, and I would have to say this has been the most thorough that we have ever been as a group of councillors. So thank you, Gihan. You have really explained and have been extremely thorough with this borough. Thank you. This budget. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no one else who wishes to speak, I'd like to put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. There were no reports to consider for the signing and sealing of documents. 15 is questions without notice. No questions without notice are outstanding. Are there any questions without notice for this evening? Item 16 is the list of upcoming council meetings. And then we move to item 17, which is the closed session of the meeting. So we'll close the meeting now to consider the confidential items. Thank you. The recommendation is that in accordance with section 66(1) and 66(2)(a) of the Local Government Act 2020, the meeting be closed to members of the public for the consideration of the following confidential items: the appointment of an independent advisor to the CEO Employment and Remuneration Advisory Committee. Do I have a mover for the motion? Thank you, Councillor Tolhurst. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Monaghan. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.